Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Emerald City Hockey's postgame live presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. Shootout loss. Haven't talked about shootout with this Kraken team in a while. Like it's been a really long time. Only one other time so far this season. But unfortunately, we only pick up the 1 point on a day in which Vegas had to go and win their hockey game. So we're technically out of first place again. Not happy about that, but I'm happy with the way this Kraken team performed. I mean, now the Kraken finally get to rest a little after this whole year. 2023, the year of the Kraken, has been a whirlwind for them. What with the 7-game road trip, coming back, having to do the back-to-backs, and then these games here later on in this week, and against tough teams. I mean, they picked up that good overtime win last time out against the Devils. Here, going up against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, take them to overtime, take them to a shootout. It was still a really solid performance from this team. But I saw, I'm seeing some comments here about the OT game plan and how conservative and maybe boring it was. And I will say this, I'll probably reiterate this later. I've been on record earlier talking about I don't like the kind of conservative overtime plan. RJ can tell us again why it's the smart thing to do. But yeah, I think 3-on-3 overtime is built just to be back and forth and somebody scores in dramatic fashion. That's what I want. That's what we got last time out with Berkey getting the goal. It's what I'm in favor of personally. So, but I just think this Kraken team is so solid that even on nights where I think the fatigue factor kind of came back into play for them a little bit. We saw them be a little bit kind of, sloppy at times with things. They can still hang in there with anybody. They can still look dangerous. They can pick up a response goal. Donato, I mean, come on. That dude is playing so well right now. I think there was still a lot of positives from this one, including Philip Grubauer making 26 saves, having another rock solid performance. I still think this has got to be a really tough situation for Coach Dave Hackstall. You want to play the hot-handed net. Who is it? They both look pretty dang good right now. So it's a good problem to have, but it's one that Dave Hackstall is going to have to deal with here for the next little while until I think somebody separates themselves again. Because I mean, it's unfortunate for Gru here. He's going to pick up another L, or at least he's not picking up a W, which Hackstall all about the W's. But Philip Grubauer, just another fantastic game from him. He made some really big time saves for this team in this one, including in overtime. Had to step up really big there for those two chances that the Avalanche did have in overtime. If not for Gru, this game just kind of ends there, right? We don't even get the chance to go at it in the shootout. But yeah, I definitely understand those of you with the frustration for the overtime, especially because it's like, okay, you're playing for a shootout, but then the shootout didn't look so fantastic either for the Kraken. So like, why are you playing for that maybe? But well, like I said, we'll get into it more when RJ joins in later, because it's a debate we always have, me and him, the strategies employed in these 3-on-3s. Looking over here at chat, James, I continue to believe the Kraken are only as good as Maddie. No point, no win. Tie with the needed Maddie, in my opinion. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about the shootout there, Ty. It's and going to James's comment, I mean, that is one of the things with this team is, the top 6. We've been talking about it. I've been talking about it, kind of like waiting for like them to show up. And a lot of times when they show up, it is Maddie. Maddie is involved in that. Little tougher today, on a day in which you're missing Andre Burakovsky, and we'll talk about that later with RJ too. You're missing Andre Burakovsky. That's a big piece. We were just hoping that maybe he was going to kind of get on one of his hot streaks after picking up that game-winning goal back on Thursday. But not there for this one. You had John Hayden up there. You rotate him in. He played pretty well, all things considered. He got a couple shots on goal, some big chances there late in this game. Tough situation for him. He wasn't expecting to play today. Probably wasn't expecting to play with the Kraken at all, as he was called up here. But I thought he warmed up to the game and got into it by the end there. That last line had an amazing shift that fourth line of him and Geeky and Tanev there late in that game. I mean, that was a fantastic shift, played entirely in the Colorado zone, and then they start shifting off and getting the first line out there, just pouring all the pressure on the Avalanche. Like that is, again, the depth that this team has, that you can count on your fourth line to pin a team like the Avalanche in their own zone late in a tie game like that. There's so few teams that can do that. It is so impressive. That's the kind of thing that's going to pay off huge dividends come a playoff time. Like it's so I love watching that stuff from this team. Um Coop, oof, that OT and shootout was ugly. Yeah, we talked about the OT and the kind of conservative, just hold on to the puck, don't give it up. The shootout was also rough with both Donato and Spronger kind of getting foiled by Francouz there, but it's just one of those, like, if you're in a shootout, goalie can do that. I think shooters forget about that. Not a lot of goalies ever want to really be super aggressive with the stick check. That being said, I mean, they were practically in the crease when he finally made a move with the stick there. So got to start that a little bit sooner if you want it to pay off. I'm no shootout expert. I'm not a hands skill kind of guy, but I mean, they walked right into it, so to speak. Like it was just one of those. Ebbs had a really good look. You understand that it goes wide or high there, but yeah, it could have looked better, I think. Daniel, bummer, but we still got a point. Now we get 3 days off. We weathered the storm. Exactly. And I do think that needs to be the main takeaway, is what Daniel's bringing up here, of weathering that storm. Like I said, we're still very much, this team is still very much in that, like, hey, we've played 1,000 hockey games here in the last 3 weeks. We haven't had any downtime, so to speak. Certainly not any downtime at home. We've barely been able to uh, be in our own facility. We've had one practice basically all season, all year. In 2023, we're 21 days in. I think they've had one practice at KCI this whole year so far. So the fact that the team was able to get through this, they picked up the big 2 points on Thursday. You still get a point tonight. I think that these are massive positive things, and those are the things that good teams find ways of doing. No matter how tired you are, how fatigued you are, how much hockey you've played, you find a way to at least pick up a point, or you find a way to get into overtime and put yourself in a situation where you can win that game. These are things that all the top teams do, and those are those things that help carry you to a playoff, because those points add up, and they really help make a difference. So still very positive overall for the Kraken after this one. Krakenok, first things first, I would get tired before the polar bear and immediately get ripped to shreds. Anyways, even though we lost, what a game. Look, that's Coop. I feel so bad for Gru. His team really strung him out tonight. It's kind of been the story of the season for Grubauer. Still don't totally know what's going on with that, but it's rough. And like I said, the fact that he has another incredible performance, only one goal against, facing this Colorado team, especially a Colorado team, they had two cracks at the power play, shut down both of those, and then he just doesn't get to walk away with a win. It's really, really rough. Ty, this game was Avs to lose, though. Never seen them miss so many wide open opportunities. Kudos to Hayden for making his presence felt, especially getting the late go. For sure. We talked about it earlier. That is a really tough situation that John Hayden found himself in. You can tell Hackstall knew it, only played him one shift in the first period. Like, it was just kind of get him up to speed, get him out there, slowly work him into the game, get him a feel for the game. And then I think that big hit on Eric Johnson was like the signal of, like, okay, he's back, he's ready to go, let's go. And then he gets some more regular shifts from there. And then, like I said, him being involved in that incredible sequence and shift from that fourth line late in the game was really, really big. See our buds so sloppy tonight. They were, like I said, I just think the fatigue, it's got to be catching up to them. I think really the last couple games, all the games this week, that Tampa game, sloppy, makes sense because of the fatigue. Edmonton, sloppy, again, that fatigue factor. Letting New Jersey hang around and stay in that game, I think, is part of that fatigue factor. And then obviously tonight not being able to kind of put this one away. But, that being said, this Colorado team is good. I know they got guys out with injury, but they're still a really good team. And this was still a fantastic performance for the Kraken. Jeremiah coming in here with the super chat, the massive super chat. Thank you very much, Jeremiah. I really appreciate it. Hope you're doing well up there. Oliver Mother Bleepin Bjorkstrand on that back check was incredible on Nathan MacKinnon. Never seen another skater catch him. Keep up the great work, Dylan and RJ. What a great game. That was play of the game for me. Watching Oliver Bjorkstrand get on his horse, get back, because Nathan MacKinnon is a speedster. And I know this is overtime, and Nate Mack has probably played, 20 something minutes. Yeah, he finished the game 25 and a half minutes. So McKinnon's played a lot of hockey up into this point. But Nathan MacKinnon is one of the fastest guys in the NHL. And for Oliver Bjorkstrand to recognize the situation, kind of see it as it's developing, know if he's going to have any chance to help out his goaltender, he's got to get going. And for him to put his head down like that and sacrifice, because he's tired too. He's been playing a lot of hockey too in this one. And for him to go out there and do that and make the read and catch MacKinnon kind of off guard, because let's be real, MacKinnon, if he wanted that, he could have probably gotten out, enough of a head start there that Bjorkstrand's not catching him. But for him to catch MacKinnon off guard, for him to play it the way he did too, like to not take a penalty, one biggest factor in all of this, right, is not taking a penalty in that situation, because that would be the worst case scenario. And then for him to play it so that MacKinnon doesn't even get like a contested shot off or something, right? Like it's just shut down completely. I've said it before, him being the son of a coach, man, it shows. It shows. If you watch Oliver Bjorkstrand long enough, you totally see it. And it's another night for him where he generated a ton of offense, 5 shots on goal, leads the team. Doesn't pick up a point, doesn't get another goal, anything like that, but making his presence felt offensively and then certainly defensively there late in overtime. Oh man, that has to be play of the game. And I mean, that's one of those things where you wonder if maybe that leads to a Davy Jones hat or something down the line. I know you don't get the win today, so you're not giving that out. But like if he has a good game next game, like maybe that bleeds over a little bit, because that's a big time play. I would wonder if he yes, Lindsay, he's got that dog in him for sure. I almost wonder too if that's enough to like kind of on a rough day like today get you into that 3rd star consideration as well. Just that one play, because that was huge. Very much appreciate the super chat, Jeremiah. I love you bringing up that play. Autumn. So yeah, I'll kind of lump in all the overtime stuff here in this one from Autumn. Bizarre overtime game plan to play so conservatively against a team that's so gassed from the back to back. I think Hextall talked about this early in the season. Again, this will be the last time I'll address it before RJ hops on and we can talk about it more with him. But it's that idea of in overtime, like the worst thing that can happen is the other team having the puck. So even if we're not generating chances for ourselves, we'll just hold on to it. And that means they're not, getting 2-on-1 looks against us and being super dangerous. I don't like that. To me, that's kind of playing and coaching out of fear almost. I think, 3-on-3, it's designed. If you really trust your guys, and I see no reason why the Kraken can't be trusted at this point, you let them go to town and you let this turn into a back and forth affair, and know that you've got guys like Oliver Bjorkstrand, who, if the situation looks bad, is going to get on his horse, get back there and help save the day and help out his goaltender and help make a big time defensive stop when you need to. But otherwise, it's like, yes, it's certainly in a situation like this where that team has played back to back. You just got to go for it. And, Kraken are plenty fatigued too. They didn't play yesterday, but again, the amount of hockey they've been playing here these last couple of weeks, they're plenty fatigued as well. But it's I just think that's kind of the better way to approach 3-on-3. At the very least, it's more entertaining. But if you're going to say a shootout, and really 3-on-3 in general is going to be like kind of a crapshoot of just, whoever gets like bounces and gets good reads or whatever, then you might as well at least like make it fun for everybody. It's my opinion anyway. Joey, for lots of the game, Colorado dominated us. They did. That was definitely the case. Like first half of the first period, right? Kraken, it was like 7 or 8-0 shots in favor of the Kraken, and then Colorado was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're really good too." And they just kind of turned it on. There was a power play for them that kind of shifted momentum, and they never let it go. And that is one thing, again, this Colorado team missing some guys right now, and or they're just getting guys back from injury. They're a team that they understand momentum swings probably better than anyone else. and because of the guys that they have, they can capitalize on that momentum in a lot of different ways. They could do it with skating, they can do it with speed, but they can also do it with size. Have a Val Nichushkin come in on you. Mikko Rantanen, fantastically skilled player, right? He's one of the top guys in the league in scoring this season. He's also 6'4", 6'3", right? And he knows how to use that size. He has adapted very well to the North American game from where he started, and he's got no problem going in and letting a defenseman feel it as he leans on him net front, or tries to create space for himself driving the net. So they're a team that understands that hockey is a momentum game, and they understand how to keep applying pressure. I thought Evan Rodriguez, big game from him, and his ability to sustain that pressure and create offensive chances solo if he needs to. And that's a guy, not the fastest, certainly not the biggest, but he just understands the game, and he understands how to apply pressure and kind of mentally fatigue a defense. And I thought Colorado did a really good job of that tonight. And that's why I give a lot of credit to the Seattle Kraken for the performance that they had this evening. Got another super chat here coming down from Gary Larson. Save of the freaking year. Holy cow. It was so fantastic, Gary. I was just I was beaming. I was on cloud nine. No words. And the other thing that I will say is, not only does he make the nice swipe, he's in solid position. He knows where to be, so he can help out his goaltender there and help out make the save. But he swipes it out of midair. Hard thing to do, especially because you got to watch out for the backswing and the lead up to that. I've seen that go wrong for a lot of people before. But he gets it out. And the other thing is, if he misses that, I think Maddie's there in time to make the save too, because Maddie saw that and was diving into the crease to try to swipe that puck away. And I just, you gotta love that effort from Maddie. We always talk about the defensive game from Maddie Beniers, but that was a real heart and soul kind of place and play for Maddie Beniers to make, to be backing up Lars in that situation. Really, really fantastic. Enjoyed it a lot. And everybody, Gary, gonna do a shout out. Our latest release, The Fans, did the interview with Gary yesterday. It's fantastic. Look for it towards the beginning of next week. I believe Tuesday was the day RJ and I set it up. So looking forward to that release, The Fans, letting everybody hear it. We had a lot of fun making it. Let's see here. Joshua, Grew kept them in the game, but just needed some goal support. Struggled to sustain pressure. A win would be great, but not horrible to lose to the Avs in a shootout, as they have been getting hot. Yes, as guys like Val Nichushkin have been coming back. Nathan McKinnon, I believe, has missed some time this year. They're starting to get healthy. They're starting to get going. And they're a good team. Like I said, they understand what to do and how to play this game, as well as anybody out there. I thought things were really good. And again, one more time, Grew, super solid performance. Just gotta start picking up W's, Brian, Grew was awesome. Larson was awesome. Guys all over the roster stepping up. Awesome. The results, less awesome. Agreed. It wasn't great, but we at least, we got the points. It's better than nothing. Let's see. Coop, I'd really like to see a change in shootout shooter next time out after back-to-back 0-for-3 performances. Yeah, again, it's something that the Kraken haven't had to do too frequently this season. So it will be interesting to see if next time they find themselves in that situation, if we see something a little bit different. Andrew, when it's not 5-on-5, this team seems to be aimless and some questionable choices in both shootouts this year. Are we sure about the coaching? Oh, yes, we're sure about the coaching for the most part. I agree that there's some stuff like that can be improved on. But at the same time, like power play, it seemed a little better than it had been. I'm still not convinced on the power play side of things, but the PK has been doing a good job. They still need to be better about clearing the puck. That's still a real struggle for this team. I don't understand why, but the power play, I mean, the penalty kill, I mean, Colorado was 0-for-2. It's a good team. I think they're doing okay there. Lack of finishers is a real problem for the Kraken from JMG. It's weird. It's kind of lack of a top flight guy who's going to score every other game, and you can kind of count on that finisher because they get the depth of scoring thing down. And Ryan Donato right now sure as heck is a finisher for this team. But yeah, I do understand, and it's certainly when it comes to like a shootout, there's nobody on this team that you look at and you kind of go like, okay, there are shootout specialists. There are a guy who's going to kind of get it done. Donskoy was that guy, but with him not on the roster right now, it's like, yeah. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Sin City, Vegas, 961. How was first place for 2 seconds? All right. As far as I know, we still got a game on you. And we're only 1 point behind. So, I wouldn't be too thrilled and feeling too comfortable if I was anybody over there in Vegas. But we've been there. We know it can happen, and this team's going to be back. We still got the better points percentage. That over the course of a full season, that means more. Let's see. No shootout in the playoffs. That's right, Lindsay. Won't have to deal with any of that, or the 3-on-3. We won't have to deal with any of it. It's 5-on-5 overtime. And what have the Kraken dominated this year? It's been 5-on-5. So that is definitely something to keep in mind here. Daniel Hayden was great defensively. He's always a super solid player all the way around. I really like John Hayden and what he can do. I understand them bringing him up. I think they were probably afraid to bring up Cole Lind and risk having to lose him in waivers, particularly if they also felt like the player they called up, they weren't sure they were going to need him. Like they needed somebody around in case there was a kind of a surprise injury, like in the case of Burakovsky here. But I think part of it was they didn't want to risk Cole Lind having to go through waivers, and they didn't necessarily want Cole Lind to have to kind of just sit in Seattle for a week and not get regular playing time. So I think that's why they brought up Hayden. But I think it also made sense to bring up Hayden and someone who is a bit more of a physical presence, who can help out the team as they're fatigued from the long road trip and from all these games that they've been having to play. So I really liked his addition to the roster tonight. I thought he played really, really well. I have to fix my mic stand here a little bit, and I see Rocky's my dog. Where's Dogskoy? I need the therapy pup for this one. That shootout was awful. It was rough. Dogskoy is also rough. Oh, you heard your name. Come here. Come on. I think she thinks her name is Dogskoy now. We've done this so long. Come on. I'll get you here. Ugh. Hasn't had an appearance since I've been back in town. Get Afra in here. There we go. Good girl. Yes, you can look at the camera. You like looking at yourself. Kraken Hawk, Hayden's play tonight showing how promising our prospects are. With that said, should we use some prospects or even current Kraken players as trade bait to bolster our chances in the playoffs? That is definitely something that we'll be talking about soon here as we approach the trade deadline on the podcast and stuff. But I do think that it's something that the Kraken are going to have to consider at some point. I don't know that this year is the year, but I think in the future, as you start looking at things, you've got Matty Beniers and Shane Wright locking down the center of the ice, right? You start looking at and thinking about like a Ryan Winterton, particularly if we see, say, a Bo Horvat trade this year and an extension with him, or even something with Yanni more long-term. You start going like, well, where does Ryan Winterton go? And then you start thinking about, well, that's an attractive trade piece there. So that's been something that's kind of been knocking around my noggin for a little while now, is the idea of that, or even just because there's been so much talk of the Bo Horvat trade, you start thinking like, I wonder, if that might be something that's in play. Not trying to freak out any Ryan Winterton fans out there, but I do think that, maybe not this year, Kraken Hawk, but I certainly think in the future, that is something that the Kraken are going to, have to work from, because if that's your position of strength, then you've got to, trade from it. Let's see. All right. We got RJ jumping in here. I think he's ready. Let me bring him in. How's it going, RJ?
Hey, Dylan. Going all right. I mean, I'm sure you've kind of been over all this stuff already, but man, it was just a hard-fought game tonight. It didn't feel like a loss. It just felt like a tie almost, really, with the shootout being what it is. And I think that was kind of the reaction, from the players and from Dave Haxtell. He said how proud he was of the team's effort. And I've got to agree. So, it's tough because it's a loss, but I don't even feel bad about it. I just want better for Philip Grubauer in this building.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And just in general, I want him to add a W, a 1 in that win column. I just feel like he's been earning it with his play. Sorry, we were in the middle of something when you
Oh,
came in.
sorry to
here.
interrupt.
So gotta give Dogskoy, because that's what she answers to now, by the way. That was the big thing. I read a comment about Dogskoy and who pops up in her bed down there, but her. So I have to do that. I know, Gary. I'll stop spoiling. I teased the Gary video and then I started dropping some stuff in there. I'll stop now. I promise. Number one thing though that was most talked about in chat when post game live started, RJ, though, was the conservative overtime strategy. Doing that, I know that's your thing. You've made the argument before. Make the pitch back to us, RJ, because I still think just going for it in overtime, making it fun at least. If you're just going to take your chances in a shootout anyway, you might as well have fun along the way.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you need to be a better shootout team for it to have a better chance of working, but man, I will say the Kraken absolutely sucked the life out of this overtime, and I think they almost got scared a little bit after those great chances for the Avs, because I think the Kraken did open it up a little bit more at the start, and it led to that Sam Girard breakaway. It led to a couple really good Avs chances, and I think at a certain point they're like, all right, once we got the puck back, no more of that. Let's just be really calm and only take what they give us. I think it was a little bit too much to the extreme. I mean, I was pretty harsh on it on Twitter. I said they just sucked the life out of that overtime. So that was not fun to watch. But yeah, I think, I mean, they didn't lose it in overtime, but you're right. I think turn it a little bit more on the dial, not all the way till, just breakaways both ways, but maybe a little bit more urgency there.
Did they even have a shot? Like,
I don't think so.
I don't think they even had a shot in all of overtime there, considering they had the puck for 4.5 minutes of it. Yeah, I think that's probably playing it a little safe. I will also say this, I hadn't talked about this yet. I kind of felt like both teams were playing for overtime, like the second half of the third period for the most part.
Yes, it certainly seemed that way to me. And I mentioned that a couple times to the people on either side of me in the press bridge. I'm like, these teams are just playing for overtime. They're playing not to lose. They're going to get their points. And I think that's pretty consistently, what they did. And they each got their points. But it's understandable, too, when I won't get onto my whole loser point rant, but when you have two teams that are not in the same division, they're both fighting for positioning here, the Avs for a playoff spot, like you want to bank those points. You just cannot afford to lose in regulation, and both teams played like it.
I thought you were going to say it makes sense knowing like kind of how tired both teams are, right? The Kraken, this is the last bit of their like really long stretch here of playing all these games. Colorado played yesterday. They've been on a road trip now. Like it made sense to me in the context of like both of these teams just seem exhausted and they're just trying to like kind of coast through the end here a little bit.
Yeah, and it's something that Dave Haxtell certainly did hint at. Certainly didn't use it as any kind of excuse because I thought they played well, but yeah, he said the guys need a day off. They need some time to clear their heads. And I think we all agree. We all see that that's the case.
Right. All right, RJ, we've had 2 super chats tonight, both of them talking about very specific plays. Okay. I'm sure you could probably, I won't make you guess, but you could probably get them. And it's the Oliver Bjorkstrand coming back on Nathan McKinnon in the overtime there. And the other being the Larson save.
Pulling the puck off the line. Yeah.
Right. Which play was better, RJ?
Oh man, don't make me choose. I love the Larson one, and he, of course, and it's just deadpan. He's like, yeah, I was just in the right place at the right time. Yeah. Like it was nothing. And so of course that was his answer on that one. But I love the Bjorkstrand play in overtime. I don't know how I can choose.
I know. It's too tough to choose. I couldn't choose. But yeah, Tammy bringing up the save from Larson again there, and also reminding everybody to like the stream. Appreciate it, Tammy. Let's see, James. Why are the top 6 forwards so silent in so many of these games against good teams?
This one's tough because the Avs, the way that they are configured right now, where they they're injured, and so they've kind of stacked some of these top lines. Like you're playing tough matchups if you're a top 6 group, and in this kind of game too, you can't cheat at all for offense, and that's something that like neither team felt they could do. And as a result, I mean, you only get 1 goal for each side, really. So I think that was a big part of it in this one. But in other games, yeah, you would like to see more.
For sure. Hunter, I stayed up until almost 1 a.m. for that ending. Pain. Good night, fellas. Good night, Hunter. I understand there. And then Edward kind of echoing my sentiments from earlier. You play to win, don't play not to lose. because that's kind of my opinion of that kind of hold on to the puck during overtime. Like you're just playing afraid at that point.
Yeah, I
know.
It brings you success more often than the alternative, but
it's boring, and hockey's an entertainment product.
Yes, no, I'm with you on that.
I know. Good luck. Yeah, I'll try to sell that to Dave Hackstall my next trip up there. Is that he should lose more games, but in entertaining ways. It'll be better overall for everyone. Lindsey, grand larceny on the goal line. I like that. I can't.
That's good. That's the headline right there.
Yeah, and that's a really good one there, Lindsey. He had a similar clear last season, but it was even closer. What a stud. There you go. Every year he tells his goaltenders, you get one.
Yeah, you get one of these. Grubauer cashed in the card tonight.
Yep. Use it wisely. You get one.
Oh, yeah.
Nathan, I'll take a point against that team, home or away. That said, felt like injuries hurt us tonight. Yes, so we haven't talked too much about the Burakovsky thing on here. I mean, can you kind of walk us through how today kind of went with that?
Right. So it was kind of an odd progression there. And, those eagle-eyed of you may have noticed I even tweeted out a projected lineup real quick with him in it right before he was announced as a scratch. So this is something that kind of caught me off guard and a lot of us up in the media. So what happened is, well, I'll back up to the morning skate before their last game on Thursday where something seemed off. He was kind of hunched over, talking to a trainer, all that kind of stuff. So we had our eye on him. He comes over and ends up scoring the overtime winner. So we kind of ignore that a little bit. But today at morning skate, he was not out there, along with Alex Wenberg. And the answer we get from Dave Hackstall on those two is that one of them is going to play, and the other one is a game time decision. Doesn't tell us which one is which. He likes to give us these mysteries now. I don't know. He's been feeling a little spicy the last couple of weeks. And so we've got to try and figure out which it is. And then in warm-ups, they're both out there. So they're both taking warm-ups. So I figured, okay, maybe they're both in. That's what a lot of us kind of assume. Mm-hmm. And then, right before, as the official scratches get announced, right before the game, Andre Burakovsky is on that scratch list, and it looks like Hayden is suiting up. So that's kind of the whole progression with that. He was well enough to take warm-ups, but I guess enough of a game-time decision that he just felt like it wasn't good enough. He couldn't go.
Right, and then still no news on kind of what it is?
Nope. No news on what it is. Hackstall didn't say anything for him or Wenberg as far as what it was that was making one of them a game time decision. I don't know.
Yeah, because he's like, all the fantasy sites and stuff are listing him as day to day. You'd think at some point we'd get a, something like an injury designation at some point.
Right, and we will. I think that will be on is tomorrow Sunday?
Yes.
I think that will probably be on Tuesday that we'll get that injury designation. That's when they return to practice. And at that point, we will ask, certainly, if we don't have one by then. But I think they'll probably put one out at that point.
Okay, that makes sense. Got a Devils fan in here say good game the other night. Yes, it was. Devils joints. And reminding everybody, hey, Adam Larson, 4th overall draft pick. That's right. Back in the 2011 draft, I thought he should have gone 1st overall to the Oilers. They needed a defenseman. Took Ryan Nugent-Hopkins instead. I guess that worked out okay for them. But I remember.
I mean, they got the other one also later.
Yeah, they did. It cost them Taylor Hall, but
don't worry about
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, he's fantastic. We were very happy to have him around. Let's see. We also had a Vegas fan in here, RJ, by the way, asking us how we enjoyed our 2 seconds in first place in the division.
Yes, of course.
I reminded him who's got the better points percentage. We're fine. Lindsey, Kraken have the easiest strength of schedule the rest of the season, plus games in hand. Calm down, Vegas fan. There we go. Is that true? The Kraken have the easiest strength of schedule?
I haven't looked at the strength of schedule actually recently, so that very well might be true, but I haven't taken a look yet, so I can't say for sure.
I was gonna say, I mean, I know we've got a game coming up here on Columbus, and that right there will take your,
That'll help.
schedule a lot. But yeah, it is very possible. We've got some games left there. JMG with the super chat here. Can we please finally beat Vancouver on Wednesday? Yeah, I mean that's what I'm focused on at this point. I want that to be everybody's sole focus. I still want to push the whole like away game kind of atmosphere and vibe.
Yeah.
Let's try to bring that away game magic to this. I'll be wearing the away Larson jersey that day and watching that game. I think if we can all wear our away game jerseys, wear white t-shirt if you can't, or even like the cool light blue that the Kraken have, all that stuff. I think that's acceptable. It all fits the icy theme. But yeah, we'll be pushing that on social media and stuff because I think that's what it is.
Oh me. Yeah. That's how we turn the tide, how we strip the mojo. Because man, we kind of need it in this building right now after this night, man.
I was gonna say because it wasn't the most energetic game there towards the end, and even with the overtime, like what was the building like? I heard from people like kind of tweeting and talking about it from the game. Lots of Avs fans. I know they travel well.
There were a lot of Avs fans, and I was surprised to see just how many. I'm sure the Stanley Cup has something to do with it, but a lot of Avs fans, they do travel well. I've also just met a lot of people who live here that are originally from Colorado or moved here from Colorado, so I think that's part of it. But yeah, it was tough because I thought the crowd was really good throughout most of the game, and especially getting behind Philip Grubauer with the game that he was having. A lot of really loud grooves, and good to see that back here. Toward the third, as both teams were kind of playing for the tie, it felt like there were some people and kind of in the lower bowl, kind of those middle seats, the most expensive seats, who maybe went and tried to beat the traffic. And so you noticed that come overtime. But man, the people who stayed were super into it.
Yeah. No,
I heard a few light, maybe scattered boos late in the overtime as the Kraken just turned back towards center again and didn't do anything. So I think those are justified.
I do as well. But yeah, I went to a Ducks Avs game last season and I was like, wow, there's a lot of people from Colorado here.
Yeah.
Like a lot. They do travel well. Of course, Seattle, LA, these are places people end up from all sorts of other places. it's to be expected. Yes, absurdly saying she answers to Dogskoy now. Apparently, it's a new one.
That's great
for me. Dogskoy would have scored in the shootout. All the treats from Rebecca for sure. She's well taken care of. We've actually today she's been super lazy since I've been back. We've been going on tons of walks, playing a bunch, just having fun together because I was gone so long. And today she's kind of worn out. I think she's a little sore from everything.
And speaking of Dogskoy's namesake, actually, we did talk about this in our little media circles after the game. Like, this is an area where the Kraken missed Jonas Donskoy as the shootout.
I brought that up too.
Okay, I figured you probably did.
Yeah, they don't kind of have that go-to person in the shootout now without him, and it kind of showed tonight with both, Donato, Sprong. I mean, these are great guys, but they made moves so late, RJ, and just walking. I mean, they're practically in the crease. Like, of course he's going to poke check it away. He practically ran into his stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think there was a lot of kind of overthinking that, waiting for the goalie to bite. But Francouz, I mean, credit to him, he didn't bite.
No, he didn't. And that's kind of something I've noticed about him. Like, he's a very patient goaltender. Like that is definitely his MO and where he makes his money there. Lindsay, Silver Lining Stars won 4-0 over the Kings, so they won't gain any ground on us. Yeah, I'm looking at things right now. I mean, the Kings are in free fall essentially.
I'm more worried about the Oilers and the Kings at this point.
I was gonna say probably me too. Both of them have played 48 games, so we've got 2 games in hand on each of them. But the Oilers do have more points with 57, so they are 2 points behind us. And they have the much better goal differential. Like, I think they're a little more for real than the Kings. Like, the Kings still have a negative goal differential. I don't know how long they were supposed to keep up this pace when you're getting outscored on average nightly.
Yeah,
that's a tall order to be asking for. So Oilers in there, but again, Seattle got games in hand on them, got the 1 game in hand on Vegas. Seattle still best points percentage and tied with the Oilers for best goal differential. As long as they figure out things at home here, I still feel really good about Seattle.
No, I do too. Just gotta figure stuff out at home.
Yeah. Jeremiah here with another super chat tonight. Thank you so much, Jeremiah. The Boos were very transparent on TV in overtime, 100%. Question: I heard rumors of Shane Wright for Bo Horvat. Do you guys think that's a good move?
Oh man. So Dylan, you know that we're going to talk about Bo Horvat and that whole trade question on the next edition of the deep dive. So everyone stay tuned for that. But I got to give him a little something here. And I think this is one we can answer pretty quickly. No, I would not be interested in any deal for Bo Horvat that would involve Shane Wright going the other way. And I know that's like the first thing you see on all the comment sections and with all the Canucks fans commenting on a potential Bo Horvat deal. It's not going to happen too. I just think someone who's around the team and covering the team as close as I am, there's no talk of that. I think it's very clear where Shane Wright stands as far as his value to the Kraken organization. They wouldn't move him in a deal like this.
No, I don't know that they'd move him at all. Like
yeah, that's true.
It would have to be something kind of like ridiculous. Like Edmonton's just like, hey, we're in cap hell. Would you take Connor McDavid for Shane Wright straight up and help us out? Be like, it would have to be something insane like that. Which, hey, Ken Holland, maybe he would do something like that. Yeah. But I think they've invested so much in Shane Wright already, as far as bringing him in, taking him through training camp, having him start the season with the team, getting him involved on road trips. Working with him on getting him settled in Seattle and working with him on living alone for the first time in his life and all of that stuff, really kind of helping, get him to be an adult, because he was an 18-year-old kid having to move, to a different country and kind of cross the continent there. I think that it would be, I just don't think it fits with them at all. I still believe Ron Francis when he talks about his kind of time frame and window for the Kraken's competitiveness being still a couple years out from now, and that very much fits in more so with having a Shane Wright than a Bo Horvat. I think there could be something to the idea of them being interested in Bo Horvat. Like I said, he kind of fits with Maddie and Shane's timelines better than, say, a Yanni Gourde. So I do think that there could be interest there. Because he's obviously scoring at a good clip this year. Questions about how sustainable that is, but he wins faceoffs. He's a good 200-foot player. He's a good leader too. He's been captain up there for a little while now. So I could see them being interested in Bo Horvat, but the idea of Shane Wright being on the table just makes no sense with everything that this team has done so far, both in words and in actions. And that's why I think it's just kind of a Canadian market's pipe dream a little bit.
and if you remember at the start of these Horvat trade talks too, when I looked at some of the comments, the starting name I saw was Beniers. Like, oh, just Beniers for Horvat. And
just casually.
Yeah. So you got to take it with a grain of salt.
You want to trade us that guy in his first year that's scoring at almost a point per game, and he plays 200 foot. He's really great. He's a future leader and everything. I guess if we had to take him, you're getting a really good player in Bo Horvat. So,
yeah. That's never changed, Canucks fans.
I was gonna say that's all Canucks fans right there. Let's see. Oh, apparently, that was Francouz's first shootout.
Oh, in his career.
Yeah, that's what Lindsay's saying. Oh no, never let in a shootout attempt in his career. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Well, that again, like I said, he's a patient guy. That makes sense to me. Yeah, like watching him, I would be more afraid of him in a shootout than I would be at 5-on-5. Definitely. Let's see. Without the Larson save, we don't get the Bjorky overtime play, so got to give the edge to Larson. As far as ranking the plays there from Tammy, that is good. That is good. Let's see. Wenberg has to be that goofy ankle sprain against the Devils from Kyle there. It's an interesting thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is probably the play that you're looking at with Miles Wood kind of rolled up on him, and that's kind of what we were all thinking. And I thought he was more likely to be the game time decision, just having seen that play and knowing that Burakovsky, whatever was bothering him Thursday morning, he played through it Thursday night. So I was thinking it was probably Wenberg, but you never know, right?
Yeah. Joey asking why Burakovsky was out. We don't know. Is the bottom line.
Yep.
Don't know how long he'll be out. Don't know what the issue was. That's where we are.
Welcome to NHL injuries.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. We better beat Vancouver on Wednesday from Joey. I know. Hockey Fork, regarding RJ saying they didn't lose it in overtime, I would pose it that by essentially milking the clock to get to the shootout, given their shootout record, they absolutely did lose it in overtime.
I mean, good point. If you know that you're that bad of a shootout team, then yeah. I mean, yeah, Ryan Donato was kind of their only hope. Once he didn't score, I was like,
Yeah, I mean, Everly, good, and again, right? He was the only one to kind of, I mean, to get a shot off, so that's something in a situation like this, I guess. But he was the only one to also just kind of let it rip and like, hey, let me just try to beat this guy clean, and he got it past him. He just missed the net. So I would have liked to see a little bit more of that, particularly from a Sprong. Like, I was hoping Sprong would just skate in with speed and then just try to pick a corner. Like,
right. And I mean, what do you think of the Sprong selection? Because when I saw he was that third shot, I'm like, well, he gets a lot of breakaways. Yeah. He doesn't usually score on them.
He scores on more of them than Tanev does, I guess.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, it's interesting. Let us all know in here, everybody, who do you think you would put in there as your third shooter after Everly and after Donato go.
I mean, here's what I would have done.
Someone earlier had mentioned McCann in here, and McCann would have been there for me too. Because again, I like in these situations somebody who's just going to look at the goaltender, kind of coming down the slot there, and just be able to pick a spot and hit it.
Yeah, and against Francouz, who's not going to move for you if you try and deke. I mean, maybe that's what you want, a guy who can come in and pick a spot. Otherwise, I'd say, I don't think Matty Beniers has a career shootout attempt, does he?
No, I mean, they've only been in one other one this year.
Right.
I don't think he was involved.
Give him a shot. I mean, this guy's going to be your future captain. He's your leading scorer. Why not see what he can do? Or his roommate Will Borgen. That's my low key suggestion. Borgen for shootout.
I was gonna say lots of Beniers in here from people. Ty Matty over Sprong. Let him feel the moment for sure. Joshua would have gone with him there as well. Tyler, why not try Matty as the third shooter? Exactly. I like the Devils joint though. Makes a good point. Larson slap shot.
Yep. I wouldn't say no to that either.
You know what? Fourth shooter. Larson just comes out, takes Clapper in close. Let's go. Tries to rattle him for the next guy at least.
To make that the first shooter, just set the tone.
Exactly. Jeremiah, I'd take Washington born TJ Oshie, just saying. Washington State born. Yeah, if you had the opportunity to, yes.
Yes.
Lindsay would have gone Beniers, McCann, and Hayden for the vibes.
Hayden for the vibes. All right.
Could make it work. Lots of people also saying McCann in here. Kyle, I see Daniel, Lindsay there. Rebecca in the Yanni voice. Borgie. Yep.
Borgatron.
Yep. And then Kyle with Bjorkstrand seems to have nice hands. I agree. I mean, that could have worked too. I would have given him a shot potentially. I know he's been cold at 5-on-5, but maybe he's just been saving it for shootouts.
Yeah, I say next shootout, Donato, and then two guys we haven't seen before.
Yep. Patrick, I made it. You made it, Patrick. Happy to have you. Glad you can make it. We were just talking about who you would put in the shootout. So if you want to kind of get involved with everybody here, that's what we're doing currently. Nathan, wow, we have 3 days off in a row. What a concept. Yeah, so let's talk about that, RJ, because last time they had a couple days off in a row, they had some questions hanging out there, and they were able to do some work and some practices and make some solid improvements. So what do we want to see the Kraken work on?
All right, good question. I was gonna say, I know because someone else said it in here earlier. Like tomorrow's the skills showcase, so not working on anything there. Yeah. So, but that's the little caveat is that tomorrow's not really a day off, but they will get a solid practice in on Tuesday, and I think they will have plenty of time to work on stuff. They will be coming off a day off, and then a pretty relaxed day tomorrow. So Is it bad that I just every single time will say special teams? Like, I want to see the power play, work on some new looks. I mean, it's tough because you can't pick out a whole lot of like errors from this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
What
you
do
can't.
you say? I mean, I trust your
Look,
judgment more than mine on this.
I'm okay. I'm kind of okay with where the penalty kill has been at lately. So I would focus on power play. The other thing I would focus on, and this would involve the PK, is clearing the puck. Like, just work on drills of where to clear the puck, or get used to, rimming it around the boards or the glass or something. But it drives me crazy on nights like tonight where the Kraken touch the puck twice. They have control of the puck twice, and they can't clear it out during the Avalanche. I think it was their second power play, and the Avs had it in the zone for a full minute and 30. Like,
Yeah.
you just can't do that. And they do it every game. And then we saw it kill them in that Devils game where Devils pull their goaltender and they have the extra man, and the Kraken just can't get rid of it. They have opportunities to. They gain possession of the puck and they just can't get it out of the zone.
Yeah, and I will say this is actually something, it was more like way earlier in the season that they did work on. I do remember a few drills where it's you're in the D zone, you got to work to get possession of the puck. And once you do, the coach is just barking at you, yelling at you the whole time. Clear it, get it out, get it out. And if you don't, they will blow the whole thing dead and you will get reprimanded for not clearing the puck soon enough when you have the chance. So I know it's something that they've looked at some point this season, and I know they have it in them. So I would like to see, that drill come back out.
Yeah, Nathan in here agreeing with me too with the zone clears. Patrick got two in here. One, my advice: shoot the dang puck. Two, let Gru shoot one. So,
Yes.
I'll let you know, Patrick, you're the only person to bring up Grubauer there, but I mean, why not? It would be, again, entertainment value. That's what it's all about. Gotta go with that one. Let's see. So going back here to when we were talking about the whole Shane Wright, Bo Horvat stuff in here, Jeremiah McDavid for Wright sounds like a deal to me. I know, right? Let's see. Absurdly saying they can't trade anyone this year. I love this team too much, exactly the way they are, and just no. Please don't break my heart, Ron Francis. We'll find out, but I think a lot of people are there with you. Absurdly saying I'm there with you too. It would be really rough. And then Edward, if the hockey gods bless you with a free Shane Wright, you don't squander that on a rental.
Absolutely. You gotta cash that in for everything it's worth.
I was gonna say, just take a picture of that and post it as a response to every Canucks fan trying to pitch that idea.
I know. Yep.
That right there. Like, there's no argument to be made against it at all. Good night, Pablo. Ty, other Canadian rumors. Do we want to touch on Bruce? Vancouver treating him like total crud, and it's sad to see supposedly his last game tonight. I know, like, I've been kind of loosely paying attention to that, RJ. I don't know how much you've been paying attention.
I've been paying attention to it a fair amount, and I definitely want to talk about it on the next Red Glare podcast, because it's this whole situation. There's plenty that we can talk about, and I think we'll have seen some more movement on that front by the time we record next.
Probably. It sounds like, if this was indeed is going to be his last game, in which case, what does Vancouver even look like for us going at this next, right? Did we lose you, RJ? All right. You're back, kind of. All right.
Yeah, I think the Climate Pledge Arena Wi-Fi went out.
Okay. Well, that's something. The first time we've had to deal with that, I think. Let's see. Got to work on 6-on-5. Nathan, yeah, you could run some. Other teams got the net empty drills. I don't think that would be bad for them. I would focus on growth hormone injections for Schultz and Schwartz from Kyle. Definitely an interesting suggestion. I don't know that the league would be in favor of that, but that might be the case there. So some talk here about the showcase. Patrick just brought up the idea of an ECH meetup at the showcase tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you know what? We could, because I remember last year we did one beforehand. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I should have thought of this earlier. Yeah.
There's still time, RJ. Get
I know there's
Discord,
still time.
Get on Twitter, talk about it tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the format, because we haven't gotten a whole lot of information on the format. Like, I don't think there's going to be an intermission per se. Mm-hmm. So, but I'll think of something that'll work. We'll figure it out.
You could do it, outside beforehand or afterwards. Yeah. Everybody can get a picture at like the living wall or something. That would be really cool to see.
I'll bring the banner off of my wall from the studio. Yeah. We'll do that. I'll get a picture there. Everyone who's going. Yeah. Patrick asking if there's an intermission. Well, sounds like you'll find out tomorrow. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. And I saw someone up here. Where was it? right here. Lindsay, kind of bummed we probably won't see Berkey, Schwartz, or Schultz in the showcase tomorrow. Yeah, that is kind of a bummer.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We didn't do predictions, RJ. Maybe tomorrow we'll real quick text predictions back and forth.
Yeah.
And
Let's
then
do
we can
that.
talk about them
so
on
we
the
have
deep
it on
dive.
record. We need it.
Yeah, Tammy suggesting Queen Anne Beer Hall after the showcase.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that could be fun.
Liquid Dinosaur is going to be there. Patrick asking if you got your press pass for it.
Yes, yeah, just got that approved today. So looking forward to it. Yeah, we'll be there. I'll cover it as media. And yeah, for anyone who can't go, I'll try and make you feel like you're there.
Thank you, because I appreciate that.
Yeah, looking right at you, Dylan.
I know. I'm bummed there. Lindsay, Kraken winless against the Canucks under Bruce Boudreau if he is indeed out by Wednesday. I know that's going to be a really interesting situation if that's the kind of the situation.
I know. Yeah, they might get the chance to ring in the Tocchet era.
Oh, is that the rumor?
Oh yeah, no, that is the next coach. I mean, that's what's so crazy about it. We know what's going to happen exactly. They still haven't pulled the trigger. So yeah, we'll talk about it on Red Glare. But yeah, it's crazy.
Wow, crazy. Patrick wondering if the radar gun will be working this year. Giordano got robbed.
I've got that in mind, and believe me, if the numbers are low again, I'm going to ask about it. The guys will sound off.
I was going to say, I think the players would have some questions there. All right, we're going to do a last call here for everybody. If you got any questions, or if I had to earlier, when things were hectic, skip over anything you want it read out or talked about now, question, comment, whatever, go ahead and get it in chat now. Just kind of double checking, going up a little bit here to see if I had missed anything here. Let's see. Yeah, some good stuff. Otherwise, I mean, Zoidberg's going to be there tomorrow. Good to see.
Nice.
Tammy saying they should do a fish eat, but Berkey needs to be there for that.
I know that contest needs to happen. We had some media discussion about that, how they need to do a longest fish eat, some kind of way to measure it. But that has to happen.
And I think that would be a really fun thing there for the people to who show up for a skills showcase like that, right? Because it's a total fan event. Like that's something where, you know, in theory, right, people aren't supposed to totally show up for something like that, but we know a bunch of people will. You're all sounding off here in the comment section, and so yeah, I think that would be like kind of a cool thing that they did, just, you know, to kind of reward the fans who do show up for that, who buy a ticket to not to see a game, but really just to see them. Right, and support them.
And for this event too, I think it's so important because given that the tickets are $15 each, you know, it's a lot more accessible for people, and even the people who can make it to some games, but you know, maybe they're not sitting in the first few rows, which is normal Yeet territory. You know, they might have a chance to come down and just get there early, get a good seat, and catch a fish.
I was gonna say first few rows, unless it's Berkey out there.
Yeah, no, I calculated the exact seat that he threw it to. I looked it up on the seat map. I think it was something like 19 rows up.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's hard to throw those too. I was trying to think of like the best way to throw one of those. Like, do you think it's heavy enough that you could go football style overhand? Maybe it is. I've never held one. I want to hold one at some point just to see what the feel of it is. Yeah, because that's what I was thinking was I wonder if you could kind of get a spiral on that and go overhand, because that's
go football style and just launch it.
Just get it going.
You got to use that tail for leverage. I think that's probably your best bet.
That's what Berkey did, right? Yeah. So that's the way it goes. Braun coming in here with a super chat. I went to the game with my girlfriend tonight and finally got number 10 on my blank jersey. What's the deal with Hayden and with no shooting in overtime? Thanks. Coming in late. Burakovsky couldn't go. Last minute decision there. No word as to why. That's kind of the situation there. And also congrats on getting the jersey done up there. I know you've been talking about that. And then with no shooting in overtime, we talked about that. All can agree. We even got RJ on board that was probably too conservative there. So that's where we're at. I'm still in favor of just going all out. Go for it. But we did talk a little bit, and you can watch the replay, Braun. But we do talk, spend a good amount of time talking about the ideas around that and how the Kraken played it. Let's see. They do weigh them with sand, Lindsay saying about the fish. So there's
Toss a little further then. Yeah.
That is good. Harley envious for y'all going tomorrow. Have a great time. We'll look for some ECH posts, RJ.
Oh, you'll see plenty.
For sure. And then Nathan Saravelli just reported Boudreaux said his goodbyes to the players after the game and enjoyed a cold beverage with staff in his office.
Bruce, there it is.
Yep. Oh, I feel bad for him.
I do too, man. I do too.
It's not the way a legend like that. I mean, this could be it. You know what I mean?
It could be. It could be.
Is he going to go find a 19th team or whatever to bring him in? I just don't know.
bring him here as an assistant. Just like add another assistant to the staff.
Yeah, I know. Rebecca, I remember they designed the fish to be yeeted further than a stick could, but that doesn't seem to be working out. Well, then a stick could safely. Because, right. I mean, you could javelin style a stick up there, but I don't know that would be the safest thing for the crowd.
Yeah.
But, all right, everybody. Yes, a lot. Bruce deserved better for sure. He did. He's earned it. And I think, Vancouver fans, to their credit, seem to agree with that sentiment as well.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us after this one. Again, it's not really that much of a bummer. Kraken still pick up a point. Yeah. That's a big deal. They were playing through all this. Yes, you should feel very confident about picking Maddie for your jersey there, Braun. 1,000%, man. And then, still a really solid night for the Kraken. This was a tough team. Kraken they've played a ton of hockey here. They're still trying to get over all of that. Big night for them. Exciting stuff to look forward to tomorrow, especially for all of you going. And thanks so much for joining us. You want to say goodbye, RJ?
See y'all next time.
I know. I don't normally throw it.
I'll say the Dylan line.
I know. All right, everybody. Thanks. We'll see you. We'll see you next time.